Look who is in the studio. It is Craig Ray, who's met a lot of different entertainers. Good morning, sir. How are you? It's good to see you.
Good morning. It's great to be here and great to be in your throne right here. And I've never been here before.
Do you have, oh, this is your first time in the big chair. Well, that's good. You have any Conway Twitty stories that you can put out there? It's almost like Elvis stories, isn't it?
Well, yes, indeed. He is a member of our illustrious country music trail, and so he was one of our first inductees, and a lot of stories came with that, and I never personally met the person, but I've heard all kinds of stories, which we could probably spend the whole hour just talking about all of our musicians, but he was legendary in many ways. Yes.
He sure was. Merry Christmas to you and the family, and thank you for coming in on a busy week before Christmas here. But first of all, is there anything in the budget bill that passed the Senate that pertains to tourism that you know of? The U.S. Senate budget that just passed yesterday.
Not directly for Mississippi. I'm sure that within there's
something in there, yeah.
That would keep the national brand USA and U.S. travel as they are funded, but nothing that trickles down to Mississippi that I'm aware of.
There is one thing in here in the news. U.S. Senator Roger Wicker said he intends to vote in favor of the year-end funding agreement. That's going to make some people mad, some people happy. I think the most difficult thing is waiting on a perfect bill, because you're never going to get it. There's going to be something in there you need for your state, but also something you just are disgusted to vote on. And if you wait for a perfect bill, and that's a quandary that most elected officials have, and I'm glad I'm not an elected official. The proposed bill would fully fund the military, include $600 million in emergency funding for water infrastructure. So Jackson, Mississippi is going to get over $600 million in this thing. According to Wicker, the project would be administered by Ted Hennepin, who's the third-party manager who was appointed by the U.S. By the EPA. Wicker said the funding would be in addition to two other allocations for Jackson's water and wastewater infrastructure, bringing the total appropriation for Jackson to $607.6 million for next year. The bill will also support a range of Mississippi infrastructure projects across the state. So hopefully something will be done with the water situation, because there are a lot of people holding their breath from now through probably the middle of next week with these freezing temperatures, and seeing what happens as far as the pipes underneath the capital city. We'll see about that.
Well, I live in Fondren, lived there for 18 years.
Yeah.
And this is all good news. So I've been through all the ups and downs of the good and the bad for the water. Whoever's president, I think it's a good thing, and I hope we spend the money well and redo the water system. I love living in the city of Jackson.
Good luck on the pipes there. If you
That's
make
right.
sure you wrap them tight.
I sure do every year.
Tell me, give me a little bit of a report on here, how we are and how we're doing as far as Visit Mississippi is concerned.
Well, it's been an interesting last couple of years with COVID, ups and downs through there, then inflation, and who's traveling, who's not, and so the numbers. It's really hard to just say I can give you a number. Is that a good number or a bad number? I think we need a 2 to 3 year trend as we get out of COVID and out of inflation growing through this. But through those years, we've had some good numbers. So we were ranked in 2020, 21 after COVID, as we're moving out, the number one state on recovery on percentage of loss. So wow. As every state lost money, we experienced the least amount of loss, and through that we continue to do well. The casino industry has been very strong, even though working at a deficit of employees and room nights and everything. But it shows that people are wanting to get out and enjoy. Our in-state numbers for travel are good, as people are not overall traveling out of the state, and when they take a vacation, which they all are, tend to stay a little closer to home, whether it's just in Mississippi or maybe in surrounding states. So still spending money, restaurants and hotels and any of the outdoor activities. So Paul, those numbers are good. We're seeing, just for year end, as I ran these numbers this past week for this interview, just the special taxes for each city, which is one town has 1% of hotel tax that goes to their CVB or their DMO, or one might have a percentage, like Jackson, percentage of restaurants, hotels, and maybe rental cars from the airport that go to fund their CVB and activities. Overall, the state in those categories are up 15% over the last year. So there's a trend. It's going in the right direction. It doesn't really mean hotel room nights are up, but people are active, and we all, regardless of our budget, regardless of tough times, people will take a vacation. They may not go as far as they used to or spend as much, but they are still going out to dinner and doing enjoying the tourism activities when they can. So
it's always a worry. I know it is for you when you see gasoline prices in an inflationary period and environment go up, because we are a drive-in or drive-to market as far as casinos are concerned for the most part, and that's got to play on it. But man, we've been lucky enough to sustain that traffic.
That's right, and that's right. And a couple of other points, and this is nationwide, but it's really a strong part of our tourism portfolio. Is this past summer, I believe it was in July, the United States borders opened up for international travel. And so for us, being without international travel since COVID, since all the borders shut nationwide, that to the state of Mississippi in 2019 fiscal year, we had a record number of not only overall travelers, 24.7 million visitors to the state of Mississippi, but a record number of international travelers. We had 850,000 travelers, international travelers.
Get out. This is in one fiscal year or one calendar year?
Yeah.
In a fiscal year.
Yeah. So
that is 24.7 million just within the continental United States.
24.7 million visitors to...
And 850,000 international travelers.
I said that wrong. 185,000.
185,000.
Which was up 85%. 185,000. But
that's still a lot. I mean, that's incredible.
But what that number represents, 185,000, those tourists spent $200 million, international travelers to Mississippi. So that number was just exponentially going forward. So, you're without that, and none of those were able to travel, as none of us were for about 2 years. So having those doors open and welcoming back that number back to Mississippi, which they're starting to trickle in and coming back, and they stay 1 to 2 weeks here in the state. So we're looking forward to the international market as well, and that will really bring us back. That's happening as we speak.
Whoa, what a change from 20 or 30 years ago. Just absolutely amazing. Talk to you more about this, and also as far as our museums and everything else, it's a heck of a package that is being put together by Visit Mississippi. Craig Ray, Director of Visit Mississippi. We'll have more with him. Angela Hill, State Senator, joins us at 8:05. More next. Okay, let's get back to Craig Ray, Director of Visit Mississippi. Final segment here. Let me ask you this question. I haven't asked you this before. Are they working with you guys, or have you heard any update on this Rhythm and Blues museum to be in Marks?
I have no update on that. I know that's a project that's being worked out, and we're, if it does, and they come to us for support and marketing and advertising, we would surely do that after it's built. But in the fundraising process and putting it together, that's not something that we get involved in. But once it's there and up and running, we would gladly support it. I hope it works out.
Anything in the 2023 legislative session you need beside more money?
No,
we
we always we lobby for the MDA budget.
Yeah.
Visit Mississippi is a part of MDA, and so we lobby for the whole budget, and I think we're in a good place there. We're a couple areas that we'll support this year is we're excited what's taking place on the funding for the state parks. And the upgrades already that have started in 10 of the state parks selected. And so we've been in a position with Visit Mississippi, as long as I've been here, that the parks have always needed some work and needed some upgrades. And now that that's happening, then we can come in and truly support and help advertise and promote those parks. So we're already ready for that and excited that some upgrades are taking place because all of our surrounding states have wonderful state parks, and they put a lot of money into their parks, and it's a big part of their tourism. This will become a new level of advertising and promotion for the state of Mississippi. So we're excited about that. We've had some great meetings there. As I mentioned, the welcome centers are in the process. We're working with MDOT on, they will be doing the physical upgrades to the welcome centers from the parking lots to the grounds. We will come in and we're adding kiosks to all the welcome centers, interactive kiosks, a new look. As you mentioned, maybe some of the looks were a little outdated, but all new furniture, new design, new look for every welcome center. That program is starting. For the trails programs, we're looking at some new interactive experiences through apps and website for all of our trails program, from Blues Trail, Country Music Trail, Riders Trail, Freedom Trail. We had, during COVID, we kept working during COVID. We weren't putting up any markers, but we were researching and having the next steps ready. So this year is going to be a very busy year for new markers in every program that we're ready, approved, and ready to go. So just be looking for a lot of press releases and adding to the trails program. Yes, that's great. We're really excited about that. And then
Mississippi's director, Craig Gray. Limited time, but go on, sir.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're really excited about the international market coming back. Typically, I would say for any state, international travelers plan 6 months out. So we're thinking, as our program in the United States opened up this past summer, that this spring should be a stellar time frame for international travelers coming back. They're already here. We're seeing them trickle in, but we're seeing the large numbers for this spring. We had an event that we bid on and were awarded 4 years ago. It's called the World Music Tourism Conference. We outbid several other countries to host this event in Cleveland. So it's finally back this year, and we tied it. We moved the date, and it's going to be in the spring, tied to the same week as Juke Joint Festival in Clarksdale. So we're looking for about 100 international travelers that will come in for this music conference. It's not to study blues, it's all music, all world. And so it's a time to celebrate and discuss music tourism worldwide. It's going to be the week of the Juke Joint Festival. Finally, we're excited to host this event, and that's our big event, new event for this year. So excited about that. And as we get closer, I'd love to come back on the air and talk about the show as it develops.
It is strange when you walk around the streets of Clarksdale during these events, but at any time of the year too, you talk to people with different accents, and that's one of the places they have to stop is in the birthplace of the blues.
That's right. You could go there
a must.
any day of the week, and you would run into 10 to 15 different countries.
Yeah, it is amazing
that are there visiting.
The other thing too that you emphasized, and just a parting shot here. We had gotten to the new generation, millennials, Gen Zs, or whatever, before the baby boomers, where we kind of got out of camping. But COVID just shot that up.
It did.
We missed the opportunity to take advantage of that, but it hasn't died down. And this new generation, they know that taking the family to a state park is a great idea. So I, along with you and everybody else, is glad to see that they're getting some of the attention.
One other departing shot, as you say, and I know you have Nina Parikh from our film office on
10 seconds.
often, is this is a 50-year anniversary of our film industry in Mississippi, starting January 17th.
It is going crazy, too.
Yes,
We'll
it
get
is.
you back on.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Happy holidays.